Yeah, so I think that you are the number one repeat guest on the podcast.
Nice. Yeah, this is number 3. So
Yeah, you've been on more than anybody that I've had on.
nice.
I've had one other person on, but he's only been on twice.
Okay. I saw you had a co-host recently.
Yeah, Juji.
Nice.
Yep. She co-hosted the one with Sarah last week, and she's actually going to interview me on my podcast in a few days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
You'll be in this seat.
I'll be in that spot.
Nice.
Yeah. I told her, I was like, I'm kind of nervous. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Actually, I was just talking about that with somebody about how like you get used to like these platforms where you listen to information or you know whatever entertainment and stuff like that, and then like being on one is like it's like a whole different experience, you know.
It really is. You kind of got to get comfortable with it. I'm getting more comfortable as time goes on, but you know, like being in front of a camera and I guess like your first like intuition like that you want to like do is like put on kind of a front, right? Like this fake kind of facade, because you don't want, it's a vulnerable thing to be on camera and for people to know who you are.
Right.
But as time goes on, I'm getting more comfortable and I feel like I'm in my space.
Yeah. I can tell just by watching the show, like I can see you evolving into, you know, like who you are, you know,
right?
Like putting that person out there. It's cool to watch.
It is pretty cool. I look back at a couple episodes I had like the last year when I first put them on. I'm like, oh, that's so bad. Like, I don't even think I'm great now, but I'm like, that was so bad. But you know, you live and learn and you evolve. So.
Yes. Yep. Either that or you die off. So.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah, the podcast has taken off, which is cool. So
yeah.
So what have you been up to?
Oh, just riding my bike around in the cold. I actually got my second bike running, so that's exciting.
So have you been switching out, riding both of them?
I'm riding the other one right now because my first one, like the main bike, is waiting on a part, so I got some electronic problems.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for an electric bike.
Yeah, right. Luckily, it's an easy fix. It's just, you know, waiting for the part to get shipped and all that stuff.
Right.
So, and then, you know, missing UPS.
So is it something like that you're having a problem because of the like the lack of workers and like the shipping crisis?
No, it's more just like lack of communication between myself and the delivery driver, and because I was home today when the part was being dropped off, and I you know, you can track them, right? So like I saw that they were at my house basically, and normally I signed off on like packages, so like I don't have to sign for it if it requires one. But apparently that must have worn off or something. I don't know. It's not valid anymore because I went down there and there was a sticker on my door saying that the part would be at AutoZone tomorrow. So apparently that's their like drop off point for people that don't pick up or don't answer the door.
How convenient.
Yeah. Yeah, so luckily it's the weekend. I usually don't have much to do on the weekends, so I can take my time. And I have another bike, too. So
that's awesome. So to get that other bike up and running, what did you have to do? Did you just get a regular old bike and then transform it into an electric bike?
Yeah, I bought a Trek. It's like 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
But, like, I mean, the bike's probably worth quite a bit. Like a friend of mine sold it to me for a good price. And then, yeah, I had an old hub motor, which is like on the rear wheel, that had gone bad last year, and I replaced it because I didn't think that I could fix it. I didn't, you know, and I thought I would have to ship it back to China, you know, for any warranties, which didn't really make sense, you know, with the costs and stuff like that and how long things were taking. So I replaced it, and I ended up figuring out that I could fix it. So I did, and now it's running again. And I put it on this bike, and this bike it's like all carbon fiber, so it weighs like 2 pounds.
Wow. So is that one better than your other one, or?
It's it's a lot easier when like if the battery dies, or I have to pedal more, because the motor's not hooked up to the chain, so like I don't have to spin the motor to like actually get it going, like even though it's not running.
Right.
And it's so much lighter that it's definitely easier to.
So when it's hooked up to the chain, does it recharge itself a little bit?
No, that's like a technology that they're not quite at yet.
Oh.
They have like a regen, but it's when you brake actually that gives you the power it puts back into the battery. And from what I've heard from like people that are way smarter than me at this, you get maybe 10% of your battery power back from that. So it's nothing significant, but.
So I would assume that like solar power probably wouldn't be something that would be helpful.
It looks good. Having a solar panel that you're dragging along, but really it's just adding more weight that you're not compensating with the power that you're getting from it.
Well, I was just thinking, like, if they made the outside of the battery covered in like solar panels.
Oh,
like, that probably wouldn't do much, would it?
No.
Yeah.
No, because even having like I looked into like getting a like a panel, like something like 4 feet by whatever 3 feet or something like that, and the unfortunate thing too about like being in the city and downtown is like the buildings block the sun too, so you never know if you're even getting it. So yeah, it's the weight that it adds is actually like negative to like what you're trying to do. Yeah.
That makes sense. Now I had Rebecca Gilmore on the podcast last week or so, and she's a state worker, and she was saying that a lot, like, she hasn't gone back to work yet, and a lot of the state workers haven't gone back to work yet. How has that had an impact on like you and your business, and then some of the restaurants downtown?
It makes things pretty stressful, especially for the restaurant owners. Because most of them have their whole lives sunk into those places. And I was just reading it's not an official report, but what is it? Saddleback did like a survey basically with restaurants and sent out some questionnaires and stuff like that. And a overwhelming majority of them said that their business is down probably about 30 to 35% from last year at this time, or even like a couple months ago. So like they're not out of the water yet, they're still treading and trying to stay alive.
This episode is brought to you by Red Bike Delivery. This delivery service operates only using battery-powered, eco-friendly transportation. Red Bike Delivery is there for all your delivery needs, whether it's dinner for the family, flowers for your partner, or new houseplants for your new collection. Red Bike Delivery will gladly deliver those and everything in between. So what are you waiting for? Check out Red Bike Delivery on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Red Bike Delivery, because there's only one Earth.
And prices are going up on everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still pretty tough, and everybody downtown is just gritting their teeth waiting for those state workers to come back.
I'm sure. That's like, it's kind of like the same thing, like kind of near where I work at GM. Like there's really nothing around it, but there's like 1 or 2 restaurants that are like right there, and they all depend on us, like us GM workers or some of the other like suppliers that are nearby. And whenever we're like on strike or laid off, it affects them big time.
Yeah. It's
kind of crazy.
When your business depends on like one set of like the community or whatever. It definitely makes things hard. I know that they're working on putting more focus on the residents of downtown and not like depending so much on the workers like they have over the last however many years that they have. So they're aware of it, and they're trying to shift the focus. So, but you got to get people living there first. So,
I mean, that's the fortunate thing about, I guess, downtown Lansing right now is it's growing pretty significantly. I mean, they're building all these these apartment complexes, and they build these storefronts underneath them too, and I don't understand that because they sit empty.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they're paying for that. Probably rent.
Yeah, I'm sure. I saw one that was going to have like a gym underneath it too, something
cool.
like that. It had, and it was like half apartments and half office buildings too. So they're
Okay.
And they got the Meyer down there with the apartments above it and the hotel attached to it. So they're definitely making some hybrids of whatever they can throw together. It seems like so.
That is crazy.
And I believe they're putting a Starbucks across where Claire's used to be.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And it's like there's something like different about this Starbucks. Like it's more of a community-based kind of mission, I guess, to what they have going on there. So like they'll no, good. So they will help support the communities and stuff. And it's funny because what's his name? I think it was Lewis Black made a joke years ago about you walk out of a Starbucks and then there's another Starbucks across the street, and there's a Starbucks in the lobby of the hotel room, so there'll be a Starbucks. So we are that joke now.
That is so crazy, and I don't understand why we do that with chains. I mean, it's like that with big chains everywhere. Like literally, like on the, I guess, I don't know if you go like towards Holt often, but right there in front of Lowe's, there's a Speedway, and then literally right across the street, kind of kitty corner from it, there's another Speedway. There's one on each side of the road. I'm like, is that necessary? How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't get it either. I remember when I first started seeing that happen too, and it was just mind-boggling. Like, how is this necessary or needed, and like, how do they both stay alive? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me, but it works. I don't know. I guess 7-Eleven just bought Speedway, I believe.
Really?
So, yeah.
Interesting.
That's, yeah. Useless fact that you get tonight.
I guess that's good to know. What do you think about GM putting in this electric vehicle factory? It's actually a battery plant, but
I think it's got its positives and negatives. I think people in Lansing love like fighting anything that could be beneficial and looking at like a lot of negative sides to it. Like that's at least that's what's going on social media. You see a lot of that. Anything that Andy Shore posts.
My gosh.
Just gets destroyed.
He gets destroyed so bad. Like, I don't know if you like him or not. Do you like him?
I'm indifferent. Like,
okay.
I think he's done some really horrible things, and but like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that much about him, but
I honestly don't either.
Yeah,
I don't know enough about him to have an opinion, I guess.
Sure.
I know that a lot of people don't like him.
Yeah.
I've actually met him. I've had him on the podcast.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that episode didn't record.
Oh.
I should invite him back. Yeah. That's what I should do.
Yeah, you should. There's definitely some questions he should answer. Like, it seems that from what I gather, like there's a lack of concern about the more underserved populations from his his board, his committee, his So that would be nice to see. But to back to the battery plant, like. I see people arguing online about how the mining of the elements for the batteries is bad, and this is bad, and that's bad.
But they're not doing that here?
No. It's just the process of it.
Right.
And the thing is, though, is like if we're not carbon neutral in like 30 years, we're gonna have some real problems like to deal with, and like. It may not be the perfect solution, but it's a solution to a problem that we have that needs to be solved.
Right.
And the batteries are always they're so new. The technology's so new that they're still learning. They got a long way to go.
What do they say that the mining is bad? What do they mean by that?
Just the process of it, and like it's done, overseas and stuff. So there's, always the question of child labor and labor practices and stuff like that.
But when they're complaining about this on social media, what are they typing it on? What kind of phone are they using?
Well, it's shame on them, not me or whatever, I guess. But like, I mean, it's like I said, it's a solution to a problem. It's not perfect, and nothing ever would be. There's always going to be something that's harmful, or it's just like, being vegan or whatever, and like you're not contributing to the beef, farming and stuff like that, but yet like making almond milk is like depleting the water sources in California. So
this has almond milk in it.
Like things have the downside to it, and it's like, I guess it's just pick your battle, and like what do you want to stand for or whatever.
Yeah. I try not to get too involved in like having a stance on something like that. I had a coworker yesterday ask me, would you buy an electric Hummer or like an electric Silverado? And I'm like, yeah, probably. She's like, really? You wouldn't be like worried about anything? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Although I'm pretty selfish when it comes to technology. I'm like, I have to have the best, or I want the best,
Right.
So, I mean, why not, I guess. But the thing is like, that's where things are going. Things are going electric, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So I don't know. When I seen comments on Facebook as well about the electric plant or the battery plant going up, that GM's putting up, and my thought was like, I think that's good for the community. Regardless if you agree with electric vehicles or not, it's going to happen. They're going to build this plant somewhere,
right?
And why not have it here in Lansing? Yeah, they're getting tax breaks. We're paying for it as citizens of Lansing, but it's also going to bring over 4,000 jobs to Lansing, and good paying jobs. And then they're going to get profit sharing, and then they're going to go buy things in the city and put the money back into the city.
Right.
So, and then, on top of that, we have the Amazon plant going up. So like those workers, same thing, I think it's good to have this stuff here.
Yeah, it has its benefits, and anything that brings money into the city is good. Like obviously the big corporations they have their dark sides and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, what am I supposed to do about that?
But we all drive a vehicle. Right. Most of us drive a vehicle.
Yeah.
Most people buy GM vehicles. Like most people, I mean, it doesn't matter what plant or what company you buy a vehicle from. They all do the same thing.
Right.
All of them.
Right. Some might just be better at hiding it.
For sure.
Like, I think this was like the first year that GM wasn't the number one seller, like since they've been around, basically, So but yeah, it's what is it, like $7 trillion? This plan is and then 5,000 almost jobs, and
yeah.
Another complaint that I saw was that it's in Delta Township or something like that, which I don't know the logistics of all that, but like. Or why they didn't put it on land that they already had, or things like that. But who knows?
Well, it is going to go on land that they have. It's going to go on the property that the other plant's at that we work at.
Okay.
So they're building it right there. But I guess this is a thing. Like with their old property that they have on the west side of Lansing, because it's so old, all those plants are really old. A lot of manufacturing plants have contaminated land,
right?
So they can't necessarily build unless they dig out the soil and bring in new soil, and I can't imagine how expensive that would be. And if they could save money by building it somewhere else, they're going to. Not to mention the fact that if they're building batteries for our vehicles that we're building right there, why not have the plant there? Because then they don't have to hire like semi-drivers to shuttle them across town. Or
right, yeah.
So to me, it makes sense logistically, but
Right, yeah, because God knows I don't want to be stuck behind another train going through Lansing to GM.
Yeah, it was crazy because when they announced it, I seen just a bunch of negative comments. Even the City Pulse wrote an article about it, and I was just like, I don't see how this is a bad thing for the city. I mean, I understand the frustration of having the empty land. I get that because it's so sad to drive by it and see how it probably was booming back in the day, and now it just looks like devastated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even the small town I grew up in though is like that. Like
where'd you grow up again?
Tecumseh.
Okay.
So they had
that's down south, right?
Yeah, southeast.
Okay.
So they had like a corrugated box company that was a huge factory, and they had the Tecumseh Products, which did like refrigeration stuff, I believe. And they're gone. They took up blocks of the city, and it's a
Holy
small
cow.
city. So like, yeah, to lose that is significant. But like, I mean, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not just Lansing. It's small town America. It's big cities. It's everywhere.
Right.
I think it's a train that is going too fast to stop, really. Even
Yeah.
It's like, I used to feel bad about getting stuff on Amazon, but like, Bezos can already take over the world 7 times, right? Like, what's my spending $100 gonna change?
Right.
Like, I would love to see things change, but like, it's gonna take a hell of an effort, to get that done.
I think my biggest problem with like Amazon, and we have Amazon, we order from Amazon, but my biggest problem with Amazon is all these reports that are coming out from these workers who are being forced to go nonstop. And if you're like, some of them are timed. So like, they offer a service where like, if you wanted to buy a dresser and have it put together for you, like, they'll come and put it together for you
At your house?
at your house.
Oh, wow.
But they've timed it out at their facility to know how long it takes. And if it takes you longer than what it like, and it's a ridiculous amount of time. So like, literally you have like, it was like 5 minutes to deliver it, bring it in the house and set it up and leave. Like, how is that sustainable? Like, nobody can do that.
Right.
Like, I look at IKEA shit. Have you ever bought IKEA stuff? Oh my gosh. Dude, it takes me a day to put that stuff together.
Yeah. Like, if that's shit. Sometimes it takes me a day just to look through the instructions and like, so do I have it upside down? I don't know, but like, I delivered furniture actually like a long time ago, and there was no way, like, you can't transfer something into real life that's done in a controlled situation.
Right, exactly.
And expect the same results.
There was one that I heard of. It was a bed that you had to bring the bed in the house, set it up, and like in like 3 minutes. Like, I've delivered beds before. I used to work for Richard's Appliance in Charlotte.
Okay.
And so like, we would deliver beds all the time, and you'd walk into somebody's house and they wouldn't have the old bed removed or something. You got to like remove that. And it's like, how can you do that in 3 minutes? That's
Right.
impossible. Come on.
And I guarantee you they're not allowed to take tips,
No,
or
probably
anything
not.
like that. Cause yeah.
Yeah. So like, some of their business practices, I guess, is what I have a problem with. But it's not big enough to where I don't order from Amazon.
Right.
I haven't boycotted it yet.
Yeah. I definitely would never expect anybody to put a bed in. Like, I'd be like, just stay here for 3 minutes and then go. Like, I don't know if you have to take a picture of it done, but like, we'll Photoshop something together, man. That's insane.
Yeah, there's also been reports of people not being able to go to the bathroom, like delivery drivers. So they're using the bathroom in like, they're shitting in bags and like peeing in bottles and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, for what,
Right,
Like,
right. So they can earn that next dollar.
yeah. Human beings are fucking crazy. Like, we could literally just be like floating in the ocean eating fruit or something, but we chose to like grind and work, like, and pay taxes.
Yeah, why did we do that?
Man, I don't know. I wasn't anywhere around for that choice, but like, I would have probably said something different. Like, you want me to spend how many days out of the week at work? Like, and then no, let's not do that. let's go back to the barter and trade system and just
Yeah,
like,
for real.
like, I'll sell fur pelts and shit. Like, whatever.
Be a tradesman. I was telling my wife the other day, I'm like, man, it is so fucking cold here. Like, I was like, who decided to settle down in Michigan? Like, and she's like, well, like, I don't know, the settlers or no, she said the Indians, I think. She was like, Indians like were here first. And I'm like, yeah, but the Indians like roam the plains. So that means when wintertime came, they got the fuck out and they went south for the winter.
Yeah, like geese, they knew to get out. Like, it's not cool here anymore.
Right. Like, the settlers are the ones who were like, yeah, this looks like a good place to stay.
Yeah.
And they stayed.
Yeah, then they all got flus and like it had all their pandemics and whatnot.
Yep.
I do know that like Muskegon, at one point, Muskegon had the most millionaires, I believe, out of any city in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, like back when it was back when they were shipping lumber and stuff to places. Like, that was a huge a place for that business. So
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Huh.
Fact number 2 that'll be completely useless in your life.
How many of them can we get out?
Oh my God, how much time do we got? Because I got a lot of them up there.
So what else have you been up to? You've been obviously riding around on the bike.
Yep.
What else?
I've been actually like making a lot of music lately, so that's been a lot of fun. There's a it's kind of like a social media site called BandLab, and it has like a DAW built into it, so you can record music, and they have like instruments, so you can plug in your own instruments to it and stuff. But I don't do that because I just play the keyboard. So like,
oh, okay.
But with MIDI and like all the synthesizers and stuff, you can get pretty much any sound out of a keyboard anyways. So,
right.
So I've been getting into
like you
that.
have an actual full length keyboard?
It's I have one that's 49 keys and one that's 61. So
How many is a piano?
88.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Fact number 3.
That one might come in handy someday. You never know. But yeah, it's cool because it's like they have like a feed, that you can post your progress or your finished products on and stuff like that, and then people can follow you, and you can follow them, and they have like you have the ability to set up the song so it's forkable, which means like anybody can grab it and then like add to it.
Oh, cool.
And do stuff like that. So you can collaborate with other people. Like I started a band, one dude's in Florida and the other guy's in California.
Really?
And I'm in Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you get, it just opens the door to like so many, collaborations and people that would never be able to play together,
That is so cool.
songs. So yeah.
Have you thought, or do you know anything about like VR technology? We were talking about that the other day on the podcast.
No, I probably should though, because it seems like it's the new like.
It's going to be like a thing.
Yeah,
it's like the Metaverse or whatever.
Yes.
But like we were talking about how like it's going to be like, I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's like a Metaverse. It's like a world, and you can like go into it with other people. Like if I was here, we could essentially have a podcast like in the Metaverse, but you'd be in your living room, I'd be in mine, and we can make it look like a podcast studio.
Okay.
It's insane.
With just avatars or whatever?
Yeah, like you have your avatar, but I think you can also make it look real, which is strange. I don't know.
So, but you could make it like anything, right? Like
yeah.
So you can. I saw somebody was talking about this the other day and how like, we should treat like have no pronouns and stuff like that there, because like it gives people the ability to be whoever they want, and like I don't know, it was an interesting take that he had on it, that I'd never really thought about before. But it does, I mean, it gives that person the ability to be who they want to be without anybody knowing any different, you know what I mean, and being able to, I guess, judge them or whatever for it. So I think that's a great aspect of it.
I think it could be, but it also could be bad, I think.
Yeah, pedophiles got to ruin everything.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, like there is that side of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good way to make it more inclusive for everybody. But where I was going with the VR thing, I was like, you mentioned how you can play in a band on that band. What was it called? BandLab. BandLab.
Yep.
If you could do something like that in the Metaverse, so like you guys are like jamming together in the Metaverse, but you have like your guitars, you're really playing, they can hear you and you can hear them.
Yes.
Like that would be real interesting.
That would be like really interesting. I just thinking about like sitting down on like a virtual drum set. Like you just see, like I'm just sitting here like this. People be walking by. Drum solo. They would definitely be entertaining to watch, that's for sure, like from the outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be I had one of the Oculus, I think is what it's called, right? Yeah. And it didn't really have anything downloaded on it or anything. It was just like that little world that you go into when you turn it on or whatever. I don't know I don't know if it's like a standard kind of thing that they have, but it was it was really trippy to like get my bearings there for a second, like because you're like this is like real, but like I can't walk to the edge of it, you know what I mean? Like I'll run into a wall or something,
right?
But like you turn and like
it turns.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was pretty nuts.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I really need to try this out. It's fascinating. Ever since I talked about it on that one podcast, I'm like, I've been interested in it. I'm like, I want to know what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I don't know how, like, obviously we don't know how it's going to play out, but like, we've all seen the movies, like how these things turn out. And like, it usually ends up with like a society of people that are all about the VR. And then like the society of people that are unplugged, you know?
Right.
And like, there was a movie with
kind of like social media right now.
Yes.
There's people who aren't on social media and people who are on social media.
Exactly. Yes. This is like the evolution of that.
Yeah.
There was a movie with Bruce Willis. I can't remember what it was called, but basically everybody had an avatar, and you just sit in your bedroom or wherever you plug in, and your avatar goes out and does whatever you would do like throughout your normal day. And then there was the rebels that wanted to crash the system and everything, and like I don't see why like it has to be a fight, like,
right,
unless it's forced, like they're trying to force it upon you, like that you have to be in the VR or have an avatar or something. Then I could see the fight, but other than that,
I don't know. It's going to be real interesting to see how it plays out, because I mean, like over the last, I would say 20 years, technology has grown significantly, like way quicker than anything ever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, innovation, I mean, we're still driving cars that have wheels that roll on the ground. Like, I thought we'd have flying cars by now.
Yeah.
And we don't.
Wait, all right. Do you know that the wheel was invented like 2,000 years before it was actually used for transportation? It was a kid's toy.
Really?
And they never put it together that they could like move things with it easier.
Really?
So like thousands of years, it was just a toy.
Will you like roll it?
Yeah.
My gosh.
That was entertainment. When you're running from like, what huge animals and shit all the time, I don't think you got much time to play with wheels anyways. So
that's true. You don't have time to innovate when your life's
when you're always on guard.
Oh my gosh. So that's fact number 4.
Yeah.
Wow, you're killing it.
We're gonna have to get like a counter. Ding.
Wow. So do you think that they'll ever create like a tire that doesn't have air for like a bike? Or do they have something like that?
They do. They have not without air. They have tubeless tires now that are pretty. They're expensive, so I don't have one, but because you need a whole like separate wheel and everything. But like they're really cool because like you can have like the solid like pumped up wheel like underneath, basically like one that's like less inflated, so you get like better grip and stuff like that, and cool. It helps with like it's got the cushion at first, and then like the hard stops, so like you don't bend your rims and stuff like that. And but that's as far as long as they've come. Like I don't think it would have to be some kind of like plastic or something, to be hard enough to support everything without any air in it. So, but yeah, the tubeless ones are pretty cool. They're pretty, advanced as far as what they can do and how you can change the tire pressure and, accomplish different things. Cause like during the wintertime, you actually want your tires to be a little low. Because it gives you that extra grip on like the ice and stuff like that. Right. And then I have studded tires too, so they got little studs all in them, and that I don't. They must help. Like they definitely help with my confidence. When I'm rolling over and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I got these tires. So I haven't crashed yet. So like they must be working.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made those.
Yeah, they do. They're worth the investment if you're gonna be out in the winter. You know? And then when you're like rolling down pavement, it sounds like popcorn popping. So every time I get home, I gotta like make some popcorn because I got cravings.
That's funny. That is funny. Yeah, it's interesting that they haven't created a tire that's not like a giant pillow, like a giant rubber thing full of air.
Maybe you're onto something. Like
Probably not.
Call up the patent office and like see what you can do. It's like bike technology is kind of it's like the whole like shifting system, like the derailleur and stuff on the back. Like I mean, they still have it like it's completely exposed to everything. Like that's right. Like the the everything you need. Is just hanging out there like an inch from the ground. So
right.
And it's funny that they do have internal shifting systems, which was actually invented before the derailleur, but like it couldn't keep up with the technology, and the derailleur like expanded faster. So like people just stuck with that. But the internal ones are actually making a comeback now.
Really?
So like yeah, it's all like right inside like. Basically the middle of the wheel where the hub is.
Oh, okay.
And like you push it and it just does its thing in there. I don't know exactly how it works, but
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure it'd be great for electric bikes too, because you only need like, 2 or 3 gears really. You don't need 21 speeds. Which
right.
Yeah, like a motor. Because, that was the point of that was to maximize every pedal that you put in,
right,
which isn't necessary.
How many speeds do you typically use?
Sometimes I don't even shift. Like it just if you get like on that one like middle one where it's like I'll still get like some resistance when it's needed to like go up hills or down hills or whatever, but like maybe 3 like a low one that has like almost no resistance to kind of take off, and then like a middle, and then something for, when you're going down hills and you got a lot of speed and
right
like that. So like 3 would be plenty.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought about that. Typically when I'm riding a bike, I don't shift. Unless I'm going uphill and it's a really steep hill, I might shift to like 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm just going to power through it.
Yep.
Coast on the downhills and just stress out on the uphills.
Yep.
You might as well just get a BMX bike.
I had, yeah, that's true. I had a mountain bike. It was just like a mongoose or whatever. And I have been the one responsible for pulling the kid trailer for the last few years. And so, yeah, that sucks. That's not fun at all.
I couldn't imagine pulling 2 kids in that thing. Like, I have one that I like ripped all the fabric off of and everything.
Okay.
And like I used to, I took the seat out of it, and now it looks like a chariot basically, which is kind of cool. But they're not light in themselves.
Right. No, they're not.
And then like they hook onto one side of the bike, which is like kind of weird. So it's like always pulling on that side. I mean, it works, but I couldn't imagine pulling 2 kids in that thing.
Oh my gosh, it sucked. We don't have that one anymore, but then we bought a WeeHoo. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
So like the one we bought's a 2-seater WeeHoo, and they sit, like one in front, one in back, and it connects onto the seat.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
Is it?
Yeah, it's terrible. You like turn and it like shifts.
Okay.
And like it wants to throw the back of the bike out from underneath you.
Because I was actually looking into like those the ones that clamp onto the seat, because with like the wires and stuff that were down around the wheel, it just made sense to keep that away from everything else. But
well, they might make them better than what we have. And I think actually, because we bought it used, they have like a bracket or like a grommet, I guess, that fits around it. We don't have that grommet. Okay. So that probably would help.
Sure.
So it might not do that, but that's actually a really good idea for a trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm looking into finally building my own, because I've been trying for a year now, basically, like to find a welder that was reliable and had the time, to help me build this trailer, and it wasn't falling in place. I swear to God, my phone never goes off this much.
Was that your phone?
Yeah. I can hear it every time, and you look over, and he's like, "Yeah."
That's all right. The podcast the other day, the girl's phone kept going off. I'm like, "Is that your phone?"
Yeah, I swear, like it never goes off this much, like for like a week, and then like I sit down and like something like this, and it starts blowing up. What was I saying?
Talking about trailers and welders and
yeah. So I couldn't find a welder. Like I was, and this is like this trailer would be extremely beneficial to me because like I can keep it temperature controlled and stuff like that.
How would you do that?
With heating pads basically, and then put a thermometer in there so it's you can tell that, so it'll cut it off when it reaches a certain temperature. They have ones that are basically they're for like iguana cages.
Oh, okay.
That you could just kind of line the walls with.
Oh, cool. And would you like insulate it or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then have different like compartments for food and stuff, so it's not bouncing all around and stuff like that.
That's actually a really good idea.
And hopefully it will be coming true soon. I found out about this I guess nonprofit called the Lansing Makers network.
Yep, I bought a knife from them.
Man, like it's like a gym, but instead of like workout like stuff, it's everything you need to build anything.
I'm pretty sure that's their slogan.
It makes sense. And you pay a membership, you know, it's like $35 a month. And they have, people there that are experienced that can teach you and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, I'll weld the damn thing myself. And I just gotta, gotta learn how to weld. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, and going to a place like that, it's a really good idea too. I remember when I found out about them, it was actually at that that event that you were at. You had a tent set up.
That When September Ends?
No, not that one.
Oh, the East Side Summerfest.
Yeah, I ran into you there. They were set up there, and I bought a knife from them.
Nice.
Because I was like, man, this thing looks sweet. And I actually just used it for the first time, like, a couple weeks ago to cut a steak, and it cut like butter. I was like, oh my gosh, this is sweet.
I was gonna say you didn't stab somebody, did
no,
you?
No. Although you very easily could.
Yeah. I'm sure it's quality because like they got, man, the stuff they have there, like I don't even know what half the stuff they have there is, but it looks really impressive.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Everything from woodworking to sewing. They have like one of those big like wheels,
really,
like, for what like pulling yarn or whatever. I think like it reminds me of Rumpelstiltskin.
I've never seen.
You don't remember? No. You don't know Rumpelstiltskin? It's just a kid's like fairy tale kind of thing. Yeah, then they have like all the CAD stuff, on the computers and 3D printing and just anything that you really need. And I think the 3D printing would be really cool too, because like you can design things, like that's never been made before for your bike or whatever you're doing in life,
Right.
So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun.
And that's a good way to get access to things that you can never typically get your hands on unless you were truly interested in it and decided to go buy it for yourself.
Right.
That's a really good way because you just pay the membership and then you can just go and learn how to use all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling my wife the other day that I wish I took woodshop class in high school, and I never did. Took what class was it? It was like just like a general like know how to kind of class,
like a Boy Scout class.
No, like we built like bottle rockets and stuff and stuff like that.
Okay,
I can't remember what the name of the class was though. But I wish I took woodshop because I do all kinds of things with the wood now, and I'm like, I wish I knew how to like run that kind of tool or be better at that. And I think a place like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it would definitely be the spot to learn, like, because YouTube's great, and you can get tons of information, but like doing it and like seeing somebody else do it and like having them like kind of guide you through it in the beginning, it like makes things so much easier. Because like I've watched tons of videos on how to fix a bike, and I still like look at it like, what the how did you do that? Like, like, and it's another one of those, they're in a controlled situation with all the perfect tools and everything, and I'm here with like a hammer and a freaking roll of yarn or something. Like this doesn't. I don't even need this for anything, but I got it. So, so like and then it's just frustrating because they're like, well, they made it look so damn easy.
Right.
Here I am, like I got the part upside down and like
spent 10 hours trying to put it on.
Man, when I first started, like there was I kept breaking my chains because there's that extra tension from the motor, and like had to learn about like making sure it was the correct size and stuff like that, and I went through a lot of chains real quick. Like I was basically, you could see me in my driveway like every day, like working on something that had to do with the chain. Because
bikes can be so frustrating too if you don't know anything about them. Like I don't know much about bikes, and I've tried working on them and not knowing anything, and I'm like, it's frustrating.
Yeah,
especially chains.
Yeah,
I hate chains.
Yeah. They do have belts ones now, like that have a belt instead of a chain. So
that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Is it, or would it break easier?
I don't think so. I think it would be better.
It seems like it would be smoother for pedaling.
Yeah. Well, they have like, I don't know. There's like, they have ones now that like so like the teeth on the gears are like they alternate, like so like with the chain, because the chain will be like wider in one spot and then narrower in the next, and that's just how they're built. So like they even have like oval ones that apparently are supposed to, I don't know. I asked, like some Facebook groups and stuff, and like with people that, once again are way smarter than me. And I asked them about like because I kept seeing ads for it on Facebook, and like basically like people just laughed at me. Like they tried that in the 80s, and like, it's back again. Like it has some benefits as far as like the torque, I guess, that you can get, but once again, like it's a whole different world with an electric bike, so
right.
You don't need those little gadgets and things like that. So,
right.
But yeah, it's extremely frustrating to work on one, because like, it's like, oh, this is what happened. Here's a list of what could be wrong. And like, it'll start from like the most common, which I can pretty much skip because it's never the most common for me.
Right.
Like, it's never going to be that easy.
That's hilarious.
Just skip that one, and then like start working my way down.
Have you ever seen that one bike? I think I've seen it like overseas, but they essentially put like this. They build like it's like a car pretty much. Mm-hmm. Like it's a 4-wheel bike. Like bicycle, but you're like sitting down in a seat. You have like, you're covered by like a I don't know, a compartment. Mm-hmm. You have like a windshield and side windows and everything. It's a bicycle, but you're sitting down and you're pedaling.
I think I've seen similar things that are pretty pricey actually.
Are they?
Yeah, like thousands of dollars. There's one that's like a camper that you pull, like that you can fit 4 people in.
Holy shit! What would you need that for?
Entertaining in a very tight space. Like I don't know. Like on the side of the road. Like, but it exists. Wow. So, and then like other countries have like their own rule. Actually, like America is like one of the more, I don't want to say lenient. They're less strict about electric vehicles, which is really weird. Like you would think like Europe and stuff would be a little more progressive, and like Australia is even like they just banned them. Like
really,
yeah, instead of like changing to like make whatever improvements they need for like electric vehicles, they're like, no, they're just all illegal.
Australia is a wild place, especially right now.
Yeah. There's it's like I definitely like a time that I'm glad to be here and not there. That, and like when you see all the like videos about all the spiders and snakes and stuff.
Dude, it's so wild.
There's a spider that I just learned about that lives in Australia, of course. And it's like its venom is only deadly to primates. But there's no primates that live in Australia. except for humans. So this spider grew to kill human beings.
Oh my god!
Like I never knew that too. There's no primates on
I didn't know
Australia.
that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is
You'd think
crazy.
there'd be some monkeys or something running around, but no.
Wow,
No.
that's crazy.
Marsupials and fucking reptiles.
Oh, that's
I couldn't even imagine like just every day like what is that, on their front porch?
No way. You'd have to shake out your boots every day.
For real. That one day that you forget.
It might be a bad day.
I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, there's just so many options of lethal like things everywhere.
That's one thing that makes me glad that I live in Michigan, knowing that there's not that many things out there that can get you. Like I grew up in Florida for the most part, till I was 9, and that's actually where I developed my fear of snakes because Florida has a lot of snakes. And one day my brother and Michael and I were walking home from school behind like our house. There was like an alleyway. And I step over what I thought was a log, and it wasn't a log. It was that fucker was moving pretty quick.
God.
And it was literally like this big around and like longer than this room. And maybe my perception's off because I was young,
Right.
but it was it was a big motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I almost stepped on it, and I just took steps back, and I took off the other way crying.
Oh my God.
Ever since then, I fucking hate snakes.
I would do that today. Oh man, that's just like that's the stuff nightmares are made of right there for real, man. I've never, other than like when people would bring boa constrictors to school or whatever, like they'd have like the zoo come or whatever,
right?
And, like let people hold it and stuff like that. I've never like encountered a snake like that big.
Yeah.
And I do not want to in any way, shape, or form. Like one time, I let them put it like on my shoulders. And,
Yeah,
like
no.
it's like squirming around, and I'm like, this thing could like just choke me
you
out right now. Like I'm done. I would say it's just a freaking like a strand of muscle. Like yeah.
People who choose to have snakes as a pet, like I don't think I can trust those people.
No, they got something devious going on.
What would possess somebody to want to have a snake for a pet?
I don't know, but the ones that do absolutely love them.
I know.
Like they get those like, and some of them are like beautiful, like except for the fact that it's a snake,
And
like,
it sticks its tongue out and it's creepy looking.
like those like golden or yellow pythons or whatever. Like
Right.
those look cool as hell. They're like just keep it like
That way.
way away from me. Don't want anything to do with it. Nope.
No.
And then people have tarantulas as pets too, like that.
Yeah,
that's just blows my mind.
That's creepy.
I had a roommate that had one. It was like in a little like aquarium kind of thing in the basement. And I'm like, what? I just go down there to check, make sure it was still in there every day.
Have you ever seen those videos like on Facebook or whatever of it usually happens in Florida, but people will like open up their toilet and there'll be a snake in there or something.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I would literally shit myself if I seen that.
Yeah, dude. I grew up on a farm and like I had a gardener snake or whatever like slither out from behind the toilet and like that ruined my year. Also, I like had like a bat fly down like when I went up into my room one night. Like that was.
Yeah, bats are another creepy one.
Yeah.
Just because they're creepy looking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're not like I don't think they're they're not out to like harm anybody.
Right.
At least not that I know of, but I built this fort in my barn.
Well,
right?
COVID did come from bats.
Well, so like yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I built this fort in my barn, right? And it was like I wasn't much of a builder. Like it wasn't something that I regularly did, right? So I was like really proud of myself. Like I even had like this door that like swung open and stuff, and like it was legit, right?
Right.
So it was summertime, and I went and I was gonna stay the night out there because like this was my my prized possession and whatnot, and I was laying down, I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I had the door open, and a fucking bat landed right next to my head and ruined the fort for the rest of my life. It's just done. It was the first night I went to stay the night in it, and just
my gosh,
ruined it.
Yeah, I think that would have ruined it for me too.
I couldn't do it, man. I could, and it was just like these little, fuzzy flying rats, basically.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's what makes them so creepy looking.
they're really good for like the environment, though, like in eating bugs and all that kind of stuff.
That is true.
Somebody told me if you like put a tube sock full of rocks and like throw it up in the air, they'll like cling to it because they like they everything's sound for them. Like they can't see shit, so like they hear it and think it's like whatever, and they attack it and like get stuck to the sock or something. I don't know. These people were like, you get bored in the country.
That is so true. That is so true.
It is very true.
Yeah, it's so funny because I grew up in Charlotte, but I grew up like in town. But like I had friends that were from the country, and some of the things that they would do for fun, you're like, what?
Like, we're gonna go shoot at a propane tank or some shit like that. Like, what? Man, I grew up on a farm too. I just had a lot of imaginary friends and like situations that I put myself in. I wasn't like, I definitely, didn't get into all that crazy stuff.
What was growing up on a farm like? Was it a lot of work?
It was more than I wanted to do. I was like 10 and younger. I think we moved like off of the farm when I was about 10 or so, maybe 10 to 12, somewhere in between that. And we baled hay and had cows and electrical fences running all around that people would always walk into. My sister had a birthday party one year, and they were having a water balloon fight, and this kid was getting sprayed by a hose, and he backed into the electrical fence. And it's not like one of those like yellow ones, the yellow and black ones that just kind of like, whatever. It's like steel, like cables that you can hear the pulse going through. He got this huge battery hooked up to it. Yeah, he did not fare well that day.
He got lit up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bad one. But it was, I think it was cool, like having 25 acres to like roam and just kind of do use your imagination and but like also I was like, and it wasn't even far, like I was like maybe like 3 or 4 miles away from like the suburbs and stuff like that, but it was too far for me to ride a bike because when I was younger, because you got to take the country roads and they're not exactly the safest and stuff like that.
And they're long roads.
Yeah, exactly. And people, just fly down them. And so like I missed out on a lot of like, the like neighborhood baseball games and stuff like that.
Right.
But maybe I didn't miss out. I was having fun anyways. So
yeah.
It was something like I actually thought about it like as I got older, like possibly like going back to like a situation like that, but
like moving out into the country.
Yeah, it's just so much work. Like we had a wood stove that heated our house. We didn't even have a furnace.
Fuck that.
We had a furnace. My parents just didn't want to hook it up. When we sold the house, they hooked it up though. So like we had like this little, like it was green. It was called a Yodel. It was like JOUTL or something, like Yodel. Okay. Apparently, it's a pretty popular brand, I guess. But and it was like like that long and like probably about that high and that wide, and it heated that at least the first floor of the house, like the top floor where my bedroom was. You needed a lot of blankets, but. We eventually got space heaters too, so that was a good Christmas.
That's it's definitely probably one of the best ways to heat a house. Like I mean, that's the most primal way for sure.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the most like self-sustaining in case like the electrical grid goes out or something. Like you'll always have heat.
Right.
But that's a lot of work.
Yeah, hauling wood in like in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun stuff.
No. No, and you become like a work hand, like, you know,
Right.
like, it's like my relationship with my dad is more like of an employee, like boss type relationship because
Hey,
of
go
that.
chop some wood, bring it in.
Yeah, for real. I did, like, you know, I experienced watching chickens run around with their heads cut off, though. Like that was crazy the first time I saw that.
That's kind of funny that you bring that up, because I have a coworker who also grew up on a farm, and he was like, him and I were talking one day, and he's like, you know, he's like, growing up in the country and growing up on a farm, you see things that most people don't really get to experience. And like you said, chopping a chicken's head off and watching it run around. He's like, that's a common thing. Like you don't even think about it when you grow up in the country.
Right.
But like if a city folk's seen that, oh, that's animal cruelty.
Right. When actually it's like one of the most, or at least it was at the time, like the most, like what a humane way to yeah, because it's not like they're running around like it's just nerves,
right? Yeah.
There was a chicken that lived for 18 months without a head. like literally, like they just chopped his head off, and there's like, so their brain like goes down their neck, I guess, somehow, and like basically like missed that part of it. So like he was still running around, like living life like a normal chicken, just without a head. Like they fed him with like a dropper, and like had to like like use like a turkey baster to like get like any buildup or whatever out. Like, what's his name? Miracle Mike is the name of the chicken.
I'll have to look that up.
It's like, listen, dude, there's a whole conspiracy behind his death and everything. Like, it's crazy. it's like, read the story though. Like, it's
my gosh!
Like he became like a sideshow basically. They were traveling with this chicken, and like,
wow.
like yeah, like a basic like a traveling circus, like with a headless chicken for 18 months, dude. The thing lived without a head.
Insane. I would almost say that's animal cruelty.
I don't know. I feel like, well, it's death. It's just read the story.
It sounds like a next science experiment or something.
And inadvertently, like, yeah, it turned out to be that. But like, it's such a like mind blowing story. Like, it just, you can't make this shit up. You can't, like, you can't. It's like real life is so much better than like anything else, because like the shit that we experience, like, I would love to be able to make it up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I definitely think growing up that way and experiencing some of those things makes you kind of harder as a person, right? Not like emotionally or anything, but like as far as prepared for like things in life, it makes you a little bit more tough.
sure. I guess, yeah, I can see that, like, without having like, you know, all the amenities that like other people have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of appreciate things a little bit more. You understand what kind of work goes into like you know what kind of work goes into like owning a farm and like raising cattle or like baling hay and what it takes to like supply the food chain.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. My first job was on a dairy farm, and I took care of the calves, like changed the hay in their pens and fed them, and I got paid $1 a day.
Wow.
Like, but I was in like 5th grade, and I was.
It's probably good money then.
Yeah, man. I had baseball cards and candy bars. I was good. Like, I didn't care about anything else.
Oh, that's funny.
And like half the time I was just running around playing anyways, you know. But like a dairy farm, those are like I've seen a lot of stuff about them now that like none of this stuff was going on there, at least not that I saw, but like they're pretty nasty places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like some, especially like the huge ones, you know,
Like the factory farming.
Yeah. I've seen some documentaries that like,
yeah, there's some bad ones out there, and they've actually made laws, which is really concerning, that you can't film inside there, or otherwise you could be sued.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they make that law? Like, there's obviously some shit going on in there.
Yeah, it's bad, and like it's all concrete inside, and like, you know, they just shit everywhere
On
like,
top of each other.
Yeah, and it makes things like slippery. So like, you know, they got hard ass hooves, like they don't go on concrete well.
Right.
Yeah, they don't live very good lives.
No, they don't.
That's for sure. And then they're sent off to the slaughterhouse. So,
Yeah.
but like, I don't. trying to get all political or anything like that with all this, but like,
well, no, that's a fact.
It's a nasty business.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like. Have you ever had like grass-fed beef?
Mm-hmm.
Like it definitely tastes different than beef that comes from a place like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember where I was going with that. But it's not political. I mean, it's a real problem. Everybody knows about it.
Right.
You know, it's become a pretty big issue, like socially.
Yeah.
But we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's man, I would like, other than like, tying yourself to the gate of the place and, trying to keep people out, like it's hard to get shit done against like corporations and entities that are that big,
But then you also think about it too, is like, how could they do it differently? Because there's so many fast food restaurants and all these food places that rely on like these places to get their food from.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how would that be sustainable if they were to change their ethics about it?
I think GMOs would be the only thing to grow the meat, really.
Like in a lab?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I trust it.
I mean, like broccoli doesn't grow in the wild. Like we created broccoli and like a lot of other things too. So like we've been eating GMOs and stuff like that for a long time. It's now like when you like bring in something that like could be alive, like that's a little, especially like they've done studies that show that like a lot of animals, like actually like not just like cows or whatever, like experience empathy and like and stuff like that, and like like they'll take the calf away from the mom right when they're born and they'll cry, like the mom will and stuff like that. So like we're not the only like sentient beings, like other animals like experience these feelings too, but we don't take that into any consideration really.
I think a lot of animals experience that. I mean, bears experience that, like elk, deer,
elephants, dude.
Elephants are so intelligent.
Yeah.
Dude, get this. So a few years back, I think before we had our son, we were riding our bikes down the river trail, just like right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter, she was crying in the little carrier, and it was getting towards like evening, and there was a deer in the woods, and she could hear my daughter crying, and she took off after me, and I was like scared. I'm like speeding up. She chased me.
Really?
Because she heard my daughter crying.
Wow.
Like that is wild.
That is, yeah.
Like she just heard her cry and was like, "Oh, I needed I'm a mom. I need to something's wrong."
Wow. Yeah, that's what is it? Animal instinct, right?
Yeah, it's so insane.
There was
I was kind of borderline mad at my daughter for getting me killed.
Do you want me around for the rest of your life? There was a herd of elephants, and I can't remember where it was or like really any of the like story behind it, but like this guy like basically like rehabilitated a bunch of them or like he played a huge part in their life, right? Well, when he died, they like marched to his house like miles and miles away, and they come back every year.
Wow.
Like on that day. Like that's
so wild.
That's crazy.
Dude, elephants are so smart.
Yeah.
Those are definitely an animal that shouldn't be hunted or like mistreated.
Mm-hmm. But it is wildly, between the circuses and I think the circuses have gotten better. I'm not sure. Like,
have they?
I think so. I don't know. I haven't been to one in forever.
I don't go to
heard of them. Like, yeah. But I know, like, like back in the day, they used to, definitely like everything was like forced, and
right. And they would drug them and everything.
Yep.
There's still some of that. Like if you go to like a SeaWorld or like, is SeaWorld even around?
If it is, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. There's another one too in Canada. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in Niagara Falls. But same concept.
Yeah.
They drug like the dolphins and the whales or whatever they have there.
Yeah, and then I've seen so many just documentaries and stuff. TikTok, man, I tell you what, like
you can go down rabbit holes.
I've learned so much stuff from that damn thing. Like it's crazy. Like the science TikTok, like Science Talk, or I don't know how they break up their categories or whatever. But like I'm on some good ones because like I got some, like, the content that I get is like is extremely informative usually, or it's like, music or something like that. And like I've learned way more than I learned in school from that fucking app in like months. Really,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a it's another social media addiction, but like at least I'm learning something and not arguing with racists or something that like I'm not going to change their mind. So, but yeah, it's I was shocked at like the content that I got out of that app, because you would see the commercials for it and whatnot, and it was just like girls lip syncing or whatever.
I hate that.
And like that's kind of what it is like at first, and then like you start like liking things and they catch on to like the algorithm, and then like it's like, man, they got that shit down.
Yeah.
Like that's all I see is stuff that I like. And now on the other hand, there was somebody that did a study with people that were watching stuff that was more hateful and like it basically like it increased that.
Yeah, it tailors whatever you're searching to what you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing with Facebook and like Instagram, any of the social media sites. I was just listening to a podcast about this, a guy who is a researcher for technology. And he was saying that like even your phone listening to you, you know how like if you talk about something, then all of a sudden you get an ad or whatever.
Yeah.
They tailor whatever you're interested in, like based on what you look up and what, like it's all based on algorithms.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And
it's kind of scary.
Like your phone will give you the option to like opt out of that, but then they're like, we're still going to send you ads. They just won't be stuff that you want to see.
Right.
Fuck, like, I guess
might as well
send
be
me the stuff I want to see.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
sometimes I like it. I'm like, huh. Like, this is one of those things I don't know if I can get behind, but at the same time I like it. Like, like it's probably not a good thing that my phone knows everything I look up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so convenient. Like, they show me things I like.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Right. Consume. Like, what did I see? I saw something about like planes being able to transmit like thoughts.
What?
Like messages basically down into like your brain.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember where I saw this, but like it wasn't like some like crackpot like like thing. It was like it seemed somewhat legit. We'll have to look into that. That'll be episode 4 that we can. But like yeah, it was like like used for like or will be or whatever like manipulating crowds and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really scary actually.
It is scary.
And like have you heard of like deep fakes or whatever?
Yeah,
that shit is like you could be put in a video like robbing a store that you weren't even ever at,
right?
Like, and they're so similar to like video that they can't even tell the difference.
Oh my gosh. Where are we going?
I don't know, man. I'll tell you what though, the next like 20-30 years is gonna be insane, I think, with the advancements in technology and like which way is it gonna go, like especially if this fucking government keeps the way it is, like it's not gonna be good.
No it's not. Where do you think it's all going?
I like to have some faith in humanity, but like it's dwindling as the years progress, because it seems like more and more people are just they're fine with the way that things are falling apart, really. And it's like I think it's just so much apathy, that and then like that it's going to be hard to change what like the powers that be want to make happen.
Yeah.
So, and like, I'm not like, I don't know, a conspiracy theorist. I don't like delve deep into like that. I just live my life and try to get by the best that I can.
Yeah.
No president has really affected my life to the point where I really care who is the president. None of these. Some things have had. Like Obamacare was actually like beneficial to me. Like I got insurance for the first time in like a long time. even though I was forced to. I still had it. But like, you know, so like a lot of this stuff like hardly affects me, you know. Well, I'll say like the pandemic, like a lot of stuff that was like helpful, like the way that they handled it. It wasn't the best way that they could have, but like I think a lot of people like got to better their lives because of it.
I agree. I think a lot of people, well, for one, had for the first time ever had the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm forced to stay home. I could either use this time right now to better my life, or I can sit on the couch and wait for a call to go back to work. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people decided that they didn't want to go to work anymore. They wanted to start a business or whatever. Like, I mean, I think you started right around that time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people got money from the government, and they used that to start their business.
Yeah.
And, you know, then now they're not having to go back and work a 9 to 5 or, you know, be stuck in this office job that they don't want to be stuck in anymore. And
right. And it just goes to show you like the power of like a universal basic income, you know, like what that could do for us. Because like, of course, there's going to be people that take advantage of it. What would you rather have though? Somebody that takes advantage of a couple $100s a month, or somebody that's building billions of dollars in a bank account that nobody else can touch? Like, I'd rather have this, you know, person taking advantage of the system than that person.
And not to mention the fact that the people who are going to take advantage of it are going to be losers anyways.
Right.
Those are people who are uninspired, people who don't want to better their lives.
Right.
The people that will get the money and do better their lives will probably more than likely better their lives in some way or another, with or without that.
Sure.
But by getting that money, you're giving them an opportunity to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like, think about like the power that you would have if you could quit your shitty job and move on to something else without the fear of like not being able to pay rent. Like,
right.
Put the power in the like workers' hands. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, it just makes sense.
Especially because like a lot of people want to quit their job and they don't necessarily want to go to school or something, but they want to start a business. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you need time off from work to be able to do that, but you don't know necessarily if it will work out.
Right.
You know, like you can't just take time off from your job to see if this will work out.
Right.
But if you had something to kind of cushion you a little bit to, you know, keep you going for a little bit, you can figure out how to make that work. Right. And, you know, it kind of gives you a little bit of support.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not socialism. Like,
no.
Like there's so many socialist aspects in our community, in our lives already.
Fire department.
Social security, like, you know, like
the fire department, police department.
Yeah, there's so much that like you know, you're fine with that, but not this. And I don't know, like, God forbid everybody have health care, you know? Like, right. We're like one of the only developed countries that doesn't have universal health care. But like, keep making those profits, guys. Yeah. So, you know, and I don't have the answers. I just have what I feel like makes more sense. Yeah. You know, and that's like, you improve your communities by getting rid of poverty, you know, and giving people like the freedom to like live and be happy and like not have to compete against each other. Like, why are we fighting against people that are making less than us or the same as us? Like, right. You know, nobody is going to like, nobody that like is taking benefits from the government or anything is going to harm your life. Like, right. Period. They're not. Right.
I mean, I'm definitely one to believe that people should work hard, and you should be rewarded with the hard work you put in. Sure. You know, like if I work harder, I don't believe everybody should be equal. Mm. You know, because there's not equal outcome of everything. Like, I might work harder than you, so my work ethic should be rewarded accordingly. Mm-hmm. You might work harder than me. Right. I think you do. You ride a bike all the time.
It's just in a different way, though. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has their whatever, you know, whatever it is that they do. Right. But just do it the best that you can. Like, right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That was something I was always like, if you got to wash dishes, wash the damn dishes like the best that you can. Yeah. Like, because if you don't take pride in that, how are you going to take pride in anything else?
Yeah, you have to be a hard worker no matter what job you have. Like, I worked at McDonald's, and it was probably one of the most fun jobs I had. just like because of the relationships I built there and whatnot. But I worked my ass off there. Like I was always constantly like trying to work overtime and like learn new things. And like, even though it's a shitty job, it's McDonald's, like you still try to make the best of that because that's what kind of builds your foundation to like another job. So like, if you know how to work there, you'll be a hard worker somewhere else and you'll continue to want to learn and grow and whatnot.
Yep. Yeah. It's just about having that desire to learn.
Yeah.
But they have shown like that, like people want to work. Like we don't want to just sit around and be useless.
No,
you know,
you
like,
get depressed.
Yeah. People want to contribute.
Yeah.
It's just like, why should we be forced to? You know what I mean? Like if you're not forced, like who wants to do something when they're told to? Like I'd much rather do it like, you know, what I, not necessarily just what I want all the time, but like when it's, you know, when you got to convince somebody of doing something, like you make it like seem like their idea because that makes them, you know, like more apt to do it because that's how we run. Like we don't want to be told how to do stuff. That's why so many people hate the police. Like, don't tell me how to drive, like, whatever. Don't tell me I can't shoot somebody. Like, but like, yeah, I just think having that freedom and putting power back into the workers and having strong unions and stuff like that is like is gonna be like, if that doesn't happen, it's gonna be really hard to accomplish much of anything.
I agree. Well, we are like an hour and 20 minutes in. Should probably wrap this bad boy up.
I think we should go back and like look at how many turns this conversation took, like where it started.
I'm just thinking right now, like when I type up the description, what did we talk about?
Like, was there everything under the sky?
Was there any purpose to this conversation?
Fill in an hour and a half, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. There doesn't need to be a purpose, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had some like informative conversations and like some Jeopardy facts that might come up for somebody someday. Like got talked about. So
yeah, it was a fun conversation.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. You don't have to have an agenda for everything, right?
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
So I do have a special coming up for Valentine's Day for Red Bike Delivery. It'll be I'm trying to get a restaurant to get involved too, to have like a dinner, which will be like which is a cool like concept that people started doing during the pandemic, was the whole like take and bake dinners, like where you just pick up the ingredients from the restaurant and then you bake it at home. Which means like, you know, I can get the food to people and it won't like, you know, be, you know, cold or whatever, by the time it gets to them, and you know, just have to heat it up or whatever. So hopefully I can get that lined up, but if not, there'll be a personalized card, because I am a published poet too. So like, last year I just had people give me like some small details or whatever they wanted, you know, whatever they thought about the other person and wanted like included in there. And then I would just kind of like, you know, personalize it and write out something. And then, there'll be dessert for two, and then a rose for whoever, you know. And it doesn't have to be your partner. It can be your friend or your sibling or your mom or whatever, whoever you want to celebrate that day, really. So, and then, yeah, I'll deliver it to them, and, and then, so like anybody really like that's listening to this show or this podcast specifically, cause this is when I'm going to say it, can get 20% off that. And then, I'll also offer 20% off, any of the restaurants that I work with too, if they just like mention your podcast when they order, through me. And then, so free money back in your pocket.
Awesome.
That was a horrible way to end that. God.
No, not at all. Go get it.
But yeah, so yeah, just mention Rising Above, and then we'll get you some money, you know, cut off whatever, you know, bill that you have.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for being a sponsor of the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to be able to support.
Yeah, and likewise, I enjoy being able to help a growing business also, and I don't know how much it's helped, but you know.
Hey man, like I know things have gone up like pretty significantly since like I mean, since I came on the show first, so
Really?
yeah,
That's awesome to hear.
It might correlate, it might not, but like
Yeah.
we're gonna say it does.
Right. Well, awesome. All right, man. Well, again, thanks for doing this, and it's been a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Peace.